Hello and welcome to the Nerdy Brit YouTube channel. Now today we're somewhere slightly different, not exactly my uni room, but today we're going to Sanford, or actually in reality we're going to Wells, where they filmed Hot Fuzz, and today we're going to rank every single Edgar Wright film, including Last Night in Soho. Woo! Here we are, it's here! England's smallest city? Do you mean Village of the Year, like 12 years in a row? Duh. So we've made it to Wells, and then pretty much straight away you get this absolute beauty. It's the church thing from Hot Fuzz. Look how gorgeous it is. Now we personally I think that's where Tim Messenger died, and I think that's kind of like the fatey bit, and then round there's further the fatey bit. So yeah, it's class, isn't it? So at number 6 is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. For me, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is the definition of a good film. I mean, it's got some fun action scenes, I quite like the video game tropes, but I've never really been massive on video games in general, so this one doesn't connect with me as much as the others. It isn't quite as funny, the plot doesn't interest me as much, the character dynamics are alright, but again, there are better characters in other ones. So while this is literally, I would classify it as a good film, for me it doesn't come close to any of the other ones on this list. So that's why it's there. Nasty way to go! It's at this fateful location where the shittest actors of all time die. So, at number 5 is Last Night in Soho. Yes, goddammit, you've caught me. I pre-recorded this video, so obviously I hadn't seen Last Night in Soho by this point, so yeah. But obviously I wanted to include it in this video, so guess what? I'm just doing the segment now. So, at number 5 is Last Night in Soho. And please don't take that the wrong way. I know some people are really enjoying this film, and I thought it was really good. It's also very hard to compare to the other films on this list, because this is the least Edgar Wright-y Edgar Wright has ever been. Not necessarily in a bad way, this is just a very different film for him, and it's got slightly less of his style and tropes. I think the premise is great. I think a lot of, the story elements. I think the acting in this, some of the best acting we've seen in an Edgar Wright film. I think some of the performances, Thomasin McKenzie, Matt Smith, a real standout. Obviously a Doctor Who fan. However, I've only seen it once, so obviously the nostalgia of some of those other films is definitely gonna blind me. Plus, along with me, slightly wanting a little bit more style from this film, I definitely thought the ending didn't quite live up to the what we were given. We were kind of just given answers in not the most creative of ways. By no means a bad film. In fact, I would, give this a 5-star. I really enjoyed it. But if I'm nitpicking to say why it's worse than my favourites, that's the reason. So, enjoy me back in Sanford. Psych, guess what? I'm absolutely fuming, but I filmed the clip of number 4, and I've lost that footage because that was on a phone because I had to kind of do it quickly and subtly. Oh, we're doing it on camera. Don't worry, I promise you the top 3 is filmed in Wells. But at number 4, I've gone with Shaun of the Dead. Now, this isn't as high as the other ones because I think Edgar Wright kind of not necessarily found his style. His style is definitely present here, but he definitely built on it over time and made it even better in my opinion. But obviously, I love this film. It's just iconic, so many memorable one-liners, and I think it has some really great emotional beats, and it's really funny. I love the foreshadowing. It's absolutely fantastic. However, it doesn't quite beat the other Edgar Wright films for me. Let's take you back to Sanford. The greater good. The greater good. So at number 3 is Baby Driver. Now, this film is probably the least similar to the other styles of Edgar Wright films, but that's definitely not a bad thing. I think the use of music here is fantastic. You can definitely notice there's less comedy, especially with Kevin Spacey now being a nonce. But overall, this is just a fantastic film, with especially a lot of the action set pieces really working quite well. So overall, I really enjoy this.
Love, I don't want to stress you out,
that there is literally a pigeon on your head. I'd probably be stressing about that. Oh, no, she shook it off. Oh well. So, at number 2, we have The World's End. Now, this is definitely more serious, but it's also very, very funny. You see, this film has a lot of important themes about it, but it's just very, very well constructed from a filmmaking perspective. Foreshadowing elements work really well, and just generally, it's just super funny, and the characters are really likeable, and it's one of my favourites in the Con Air trilogy. This honestly really comes close with the number 1 for me. I love this film. Look at the swan. Oh my god, we found the swan. Lads, don't worry, we found the swan. I mean, that's pretty much as iconic as you can get for Wells, Hot Fuzz, yeah. P.I. Staker, Piss Taker. So, number 1 is, of course, Hot Fuzz. Now, overall, it's just iconic. It's funny. It's fast-paced. It's set in this lovely location. I mean, is there actually a problem with Hot Fuzz? I genuinely can't actually think of a problem with Hot Fuzz. Can you? It's fantastic. It's number 1. Good night. So, we're back to Room James. First of all, if you like this video, hit like, subscribe, blah blah blah. Also, rank the Edgar Wright films down below, because I actually am kind of interested in other people's lists. I think that'd be really cool. Also, yesterday, literally yesterday, the first episode of my new podcast, Mediocre at Best, got released. I do the podcast with my amazing YouTube mate. You've met him a bunch of times on this channel. He's known as Fraser Oliver YT. The first half of our first ever podcast is on his channel, and the second half, along with all future podcasts and some extra videos, are on the Mediocre at Best podcast channel. All links are in the description. Go subscribe. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful day.